Three. Hey, everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Boys and the Burgh podcast. My name's Carter.
I'm Austin.
This podcast is going to be a lot of sports, entertainment, random rants, funny stories. So just sit back and enjoy the ride. So, NFL divisional round ended. What a weekend. We'll start off with the first game. Bengals and Titans. In a sloppy game, Bengals win 19-16. Joe Burrow, 28 for 37, 348 yards, a touchdown.
Not bad.
Ryan Tannehill, 15 for 24, 220 at TD, but 3 interceptions. And that's what cost them the game.
Filling out that Chuck E. Cheese application after the game.
I mean, again, 9 sacks, and you still win a football game. That's surprising.
It's unacceptable. 3 turnovers. He made one big throw to A.J. Oh, he actually had some good throws to A.J. Brown. I mean, I'll say this. The one throw, I don't know if you saw the back of the end zone. He threw a perfect dime. But when you throw 3 picks, like the last one was so costly, I don't know why you would force it in there to some third-string receiver. I don't know his name. Whatever. Don't care about him. But why would you even decide to do that? And they should have never went for 2 points. They should have just took the one.
Yeah,
they would have won that game.
And I was surprised. I mean, Derrick Henry coming off that
well.
ankle surgery. Okay. They didn't use him as much as they should. And I think they passed too much. They couldn't establish a run game. Ryan Tannehill's not the
He's
guy
not that guy
there.
to throw that much. No. At most 20, 25 times you get to throw with him. It should have went with Deontay Foreman more often. He was killing it.
But you got to give the Bengals credit. They're on a roll right now. Evan McPherson with the game runner.
He's a beast. I mean, Joe Burrow proven himself in the playoffs. I really like Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is pretty solid. I don't know. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about him. Like, what do you think? There's one big weakness within them.
With who?
The Bengals.
Bengals
what's the big
line?
Weakness? Yeah, I agree with that.
Their offense, they have a good defense, good secondary. They just can't block. I mean, they're good in the run game, but pass protection.
They got good playmakers, though.
That's the only thing that keeps them alive. I think going forward in the offseason, they need to do what the Chiefs did this past year and just go all in on the O-line. I think once they get that, they're going to be very good for a long time. Next game we got Austin's favorite, 49ers at Packers. 49ers won this game 13-10. Low-scoring game. Garoppolo had a bad start. Only 11 for 19, 131, and an interception. Rodgers 20 for 29, 225. No touchdowns, no picks. The story of the game here was special teams. 49ers blocked a field goal at the end of the first half, then blocked that big punt to tie the game, and eventually set up Robbie Gould.
Money man Gold. I mean, look, I've been saying this all year. Aaron Rodgers, he's a choker. He's a fraud. Aaron Rodgers, immunized from going to the Super Bowl for how many straight years now? When's the last time they won?
What was that, 2010?
It was at 2010, something like that. Scrub. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, listen, he's amazing in the regular season, just like how Drew Brees was. Probably going to get 4 MVPs, yada, yada, yada. Broke Favre's record for most touchdowns as a Packer. But you can't make excuses anymore for this guy because, like, when your defense only lets up 6 points and you still somehow lose, you can't get more than 10 points. Are you kidding me? You're the first seed.
And that's what I was saying. Obviously, if you don't block the field goal, don't block the punt, the Packers are in a lot better place. But as an offense, only scoring really 10 points, that means Rodgers in that offense, Devontae Adams, best receiver in football, Aaron Jones, very capable back. They're
the best I think the best back duo in the whole league.
Yeah, AJ Dillon too.
Yeah,
great support. You gotta score more than 10 points as an offense.
I think Rodgers. He had Lazard wide open on that one play, but he was just too dependent on. I got to get into Adams' hands. Which you have other guys. Use Cobb. Use St. Brown. Use, like I said, Lazard. But like besides that one big 75-yard play that Jones busted coverage, he didn't do much.
Garoppolo did not play a good game. He threw a really bad pick.
He's all screwed up in the shoulder.
Tried to force one to Kittle. The offense just they didn't score. The offense didn't score a touchdown the whole game. It was
everybody was getting hurt too. I saw you saw Debo hopping off the field. Garoppolo's playing that torn ligament. Trent Williams got hurt too. But
do you think the Packers overestimated how easy this game would be, and you think they kind of went into it? We're just going to walk through and go back to the NFC Championship.
I definitely thought that they had in their minds like, okay, we're going to win this game because being the first seed, and now everybody's saying it's their year. Rodgers MVP, it has to be, because everybody's like, this might be his last year there. And I think they took it like, 49ers, they beat Dallas. They said they weren't really too worried about this team, but you always had that thing in the back of your mind where he hasn't beaten the Niners in the playoffs.
Yeah, and, I'm not a type of guy to believe in he's never beaten this team, so he's automatically going to lose this game. But I think it's just, I don't know if it's a mindset, if Rodgers just acts too cool out there and he's not really in the game, but they can't get it done when they have to. And
I noticed too, like after that Mercedes Lewis fumble, he seemed like he kind of just like gave up. He has that mentality of once a teammate screws him over, he's like, I don't care anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, I think that's the last
game.
I think it's the last game that we see Rodgers as a Packer. Possibly the last game.
I mean, he doesn't want to be there for rebuild mode, but I don't know. Where else would he go? I mean, I don't think Pittsburgh's going to give him that money.
No, the only team I can see him going to is a team like Tennessee, who just would upgrade their quarterback.
I don't know if they get rid of Tannehill, but like that wouldn't be bad. Denver would be the best option. They got everything but a quarterback.
Could also be Adams last season because he might not want to play without Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
I wouldn't want to play with Jordan Love.
No, if Rodgers leaves, they are an automatic 8-9 team. They're still gonna have a deep team, but Jordan Love's not it. The third game was I guess you could call it a good game, but it was also kind of
it was a blowout for most.
Yeah. Rams beat the Buccaneers 30-27. Matthew Stafford 28-38, 366, 2 touchdowns. Brady 30-54, 329, TD and INT. Turnovers were the story of the game at the end there. Rams had a big lead, and they almost choked it all away. Yeah,
I mean, I saw 27-3, and I'm like, Brady wasn't good that game. Buccaneers defense couldn't get pressure. Kupp was just running wide open. They completely forgot who he was. They thought he was Chris Hogan or somebody, which he wasn't. I mean, he did lead the league in every stat category as a receiver. But, I mean, when you're down 27-3, I was like, who's on the other side? It's Tom Brady. So it didn't surprise me they came back. But the Rams did everything in their power to lose this game. But at the end, it comes up with you. You can't play good for just a quarter and a half, and the Bucs, you got to play good for 4. So
yeah, and another thing, Tom Brady, 54 pass attempts, can't win football games if you don't establish the run. I mean, to start off the game, 2 big runs by Leonard Fournette, looked like they could do it the whole way down the field, and that's the problem with the Bucs this year. They couldn't run the ball, and they needed to.
And they just had so many players going in and out, and they're like, they couldn't have that solid guy like they did with Fournette. I mean, he was for a while where he got on that hot streak, then he got hurt. So, they mixed Ronald Jones, he gets hurt, and the other dude, Keyshawn Vaughn. So, I mean, Bucs had a good season, but that defense wasn't like how it was last year at all. I mean, the run defense was still great, but that secondary just had too many holes in it.
Yeah, and story again. Rams got the ball back at the end of the game. I said, it's Cooper Kupp time. And when 2 straight clutch plays.
Threw a dime to him. I got to admit, though, with Stafford, I give him a lot of crap, but he's efficient. I thought Stafford would make that key mistake with that bad interception he throws in a lot of big games, but he didn't. and the players around him were trying to screw him over. Akers fumbled twice. I don't know what the center was doing. Confused by what he was thinking. And then Cooper Kupp fumbled too, but Stafford's playing solid.
And how about the game of the year? Bills and Chiefs rematch AFC Championship last year. And Chiefs win 42-36 in overtime. Josh Allen,
13 seconds.
27-37, 329, 4 TDs. And how about Gabriel Davis? 8 catches, 201 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's an NFL record. No other players for receiving touchdowns in a playoff game. Mahomes, 33-44, 378, 3 TDs. Again, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce dominating again. Chiefs get the win.
I mean, 13 seconds left. All you got to do is not let them get to the field goal line. I mean, they did have 3 timeouts, I know, but come on now, 13 seconds left.
And the thing was, it looked like the Bills were playing. I mean, they were playing prevent defense, but you can't play prevent if the other team only needs a field goal to tie.
Exactly.
If you have a 4-point lead or something, whatever, to keep them in the end zone, sure, but you can't just let them walk into field goal range. How about Mahomes? 177 passing yards after the 2-minute warning.
Insane. I mean, he's insane. I mean, and the thing with Mahomes is it's so hard to bring him down because he's not the biggest guy. I mean, he is athletic. He makes crazy throws, but he just knows how to get away and run away from people. He knows how to use them feet in the pocket.
And it's weird because he's not the fastest, but here's Lamar Jackson. He's obviously the fastest and best running quarterback, but he can get sacked. You can just never bring Mahomes down.
Great footwork and pocket awareness. That's what it comes down to. And he has that great IQ.
He can always make those throws on the run. I mean,
but the Bills, man, I mean, with the Tyreek Hill play, the corner was supposed to take away the inside, so that'd be the middle of the field playing on the inside. But he plays the outside, which the safety already has in case he goes deep. So that's what allowed Hill to get wide open, and then he scored that touch. He put out the peace sign.
Bad defense overall.
And, I mean, you're the first-ranked defense, right? I mean, and listen, I get it's Mahomes, but if you're the number 1 defense, you can't be doing that. You got to come up with some big plays there. And you can't, 13 seconds, that's just inexcusable. Bad coaching, too.
A lot of controversy over, saying NFL overtime rules need to be changed. If the Bills win that toss, they win the game, which I agree with. I think if the Bills get the ball, they go down and score a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
But my thing is in the NFL, overtime, if you want to win, you got to play defense if that's what happens.
I know, because put it this way, if your team's on the other side of that, you're going to say the same thing. Chiefs fans right now are keep the overtime rules, but Bills fans are, change it. But if vice versa, it's the same thing. But I think you should just keep it the way it always has been, and play defense. You got to play defense to win games. You should have never let up, that 2 big plays at 13 seconds to begin with. So,
yeah, I mean,
and then the other thing, what was I going to say? With Stephon Diggs.
You ever see it?
I don't know. I think he was on the bench.
I
think he was still
7 total yards.
His brother play.
Yeah, I think 7 total in that 2-point conversion. And it's not like the Chiefs have a lockdown corner. I mean, Snead's okay.
I have no clue they have.
Ward is decent, but it's not like they got Jalen Ramsey out there. I mean,
and I gotta say about the Chiefs, when they added Melvin Ingram, man, that pass rush has just been great. That defense has gotten so much better.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs just they can get pressure. I mean, Allen was getting away, but that Chiefs defense got a lot better from what they were at the beginning.
Oh, hell of a lot better, yeah. And the other thing was what this is what I gotta say about Bills, the whole organization and the franchise. They're the AFC counterpart to the Minnesota Vikings. Cursed franchises. And me being a Vikings fan, listen, Bills, I know the pain. I'm crazy stuff like this doesn't happen to most teams, but it happens to teams like the Bills and the Vikings. And Bills, I still think the Bills can contend for another Super Bowl for many years to come if you keep Josh Allen there. He's proven himself, I think, especially yesterday.
And look ahead to the conference championship games. AFC Championship Sunday at 3:00. Bengals at the Chiefs. What are your predictions for this game?
Well, I think it's going to be a totally different game than it was last time. I think it's going to be more defense oriented, to be honest with you. I think the key in this game is for how the Chiefs could win is you have to take Jamar Chase away. I still you can beat them if you let Higgins have a solid game. But once you take Chase away, that's their playmaker who can, break tackles, get away, and just completely blow the game open. You take him away, you kind of make Burrow play with his left hand almost. And then Mixon, if they can get Mixon going, it's also going to be a little tough. So I think really focus on getting Chase away, and I think the Chiefs can win. But I'm taking the upset here. I'm going to take the Bengals, win by 4. I like them. They're on a roll.
I think it's going to be a close game. I just think with that Bengals offensive line, they're just not there yet. I think, Chiefs are going to get pressure. They're going to get sacks. When you get sacked that much, you're destined to lose a fumble down there. I think it's a close game. I think Chiefs win like 31-24. I also want my $10, Austin, so I'm rooting for them too. But
you ain't getting that $10. I'm just playing.
I think
you get the 10.
It's gonna be close.
Yeah, it will be. Look, last game it was just a shootout. And Jamar Chase literally killed them. And the Chiefs know, all right, we cannot let that happen. He had 200-something yards, 11 catches, 3 touchdowns. Insane.
He won
and then I think
championships that week.
Yeah. And for the Bengals, I was going to say for the Bengals to really hold the Chiefs is contain Mahomes to that pocket. Because once he gets outside, he makes them plays, you can't stop him. It'll be a good game.
Yeah, NFC Championship game looks like it's going to be another one. Sunday, 6:30, 49ers, Rams. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I got the Rams coming out on top. 49ers look a little banged up. Their offense doesn't look like to be clicking on all cylinders. Their defense is playing well. They shut down Rodgers and the Packers. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. But I think Rams pull this one out.
I have to agree.
Not high scoring, but
yeah,
I think the Rams pull this one out. I think Stafford gets his chance to go win a Super Bowl.
As much as I want to pick the Niners and I'm rooting for them to go all the way, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year. It's rare it happens, but I don't know. I think the Rams are going to win, but also I'm rooting for the Niners. So it's tough. I think in this game, you're going to have to see Garoppolo step up and make key throws to win. I think that's what, they're going to have to do to force him, because you can't let him run the ball like they do. Because once they get that run game going with Mitchell, it's a hard team to beat. Garoppolo doesn't have to do much. Force Garoppolo to throw, shut the run down, you win the game.
Yeah,
and with Stafford, we're good.
I don't know about Deebo Samuel at the end of the game. He had to limp off the field.
Yeah, if you don't have him, it's over.
Even if they have him, but he's not 100%, that changes the game a lot.
That's their key guy right there.
And the Rams defense, they went all in this year. They got no draft picks left, so they're in it to win it right now. But that
they got to win it. You know how much money they'll be over in 2 years on the salary cap?
They don't win
team
now.
might move back to St. Louis.
Yeah, if they don't win now, that'd be a failed experiment there.
Oh yeah, but they got 2 years to do it. But with how the Niners would win, their defense is good enough. And what you have to do is you have to get at least a takeaway or 2 from Stafford. You have to put him under duress. Now he's good at reading the blitz. So that front 4 has to get home, which I think they can. But you got to force some takeaways, because he, as we saw in a lot of these games they lost this year, the Rams, he throws multiple interceptions, and he did lead the league in pick sixes. So if you could force that, I'm not saying you got to get a pick 6, but you got to get at least 1 interception, I think, to win this game. Garoppolo can't turn the ball over.
Yeah, and I think it's just going to be one of those games where even though the defense is going to be focused on them, and it's completely obvious you got to stop Cooper Kupp.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's just going to come through again.
I would try in all my power to like completely get him out the game. Make OBJ beat you. Make Van Jefferson, Higbee, play him 1-on-1. You got to get rid of Kupp though. You have to shut him.
There's guys in the league that are, I think they're just so talented that even when you try to take them out of the game, they can still figure out how to have an impact. It seems like you can't take Kupp out of the game. I mean, I can't think of a bad game he's had all season. And, you can plan for him, double team, whatever. His football IQ is so high. He's such a great route runner that
he's
going to find a way.
I mean, how he exploits that middle of the field and gets open. And he's good at running after the catch, too. I mean, he's really good at it. And he's hard to bring down. He's tough. So, I mean, he's a beast. But it's going to be another good game, I think. Both games, I think, are going to come down at the last moment.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting weekend of football. I'm glad to see that, it's competitive this year. I mean, wild card round had some blowouts, but these were all won by last second scores.
3 field goals.
I think another thing that's good right now is that, the referees, a lot of complaints in the wild card round seem to be less of an issue right now. And it seems like their teams are just going out there and being able to play, which we like to see. You don't like to see flags being thrown every other play.
Yeah, I noticed on like the Titans and Bengals game, I swear, I think there might have been just 1 or 2 flags the whole game. I noticed it's clean football, and same with the Packers game, really.
Yeah, there wasn't. The Bucks game, they had 3 unsportsmanlike conducts.
Terrible penalties.
But the Knob Sue one, extended the drive, I think they scored a touchdown, right? Or a field goal.
What was it? I think that led to the first touchdown. I know they scored. Was that the first touchdown? Yeah, they definitely scored. I don't know.
Yeah, extended the drive. Rams scored. Tom Brady won. Didn't really have a huge, but didn't have a huge effect. But just overall, pretty clean all around. Other than that,
and I think it was Levante David or was it Shaq Barrett? One of them slammed their helmet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about like throwing a flag for slamming your helmet. Honestly, I mean they're voicing their frustration. Let them be.
My thing is, if an action's directed towards a player and it's obviously it's obscene and then you can flag him. But if a guy's just throwing his helmet, it's the emotions of playing.
He's pissed off. He's competitive.
I don't condone it. You should try to be a good sport, but you can't flag a guy just for that.
I mean, what do you expect them? They're getting killed. I think at that point it was 17-3 or maybe 20-3, and they're getting killed out there. So he's pissed. Let him be pissed. I don't know. Some bad flags. But the Mike Evans one was kind of – what's your thoughts on that? Like, it was like a bam play. Do you think it should have been Bucks ball, or you think the call was right?
I had to think about it because I'd never seen something like it on 4th down. Normally it happens before, and then it extends the drive. But the ball, it was an incomplete pass. Ball hit the ground a split second before the hit was made by Weddle. I guess by rule, it can't be enforced to give the Bucks the ball. It has to be enforced on the Rams.
It was dead ball.
It was just an odd play because, it was a dead ball, but it's so close. I'd never seen a 4th down play like that, so I was confused at first, but it does make sense, and
it happened so fast. Like like you said, I agree. I thought it was a first down at first, but then like they said, it's a dead ball foul because technically it did hit the ground, but just so fast of a play.
Yeah. Well, switching gears a little bit, one thing Pittsburgh fans are really focused on is QB situation. Obviously, Big Ben hasn't officially announced, but he's retiring. And I just wanted to know, Austin, what do you think the Steelers should do at quarterback? But also, what do you think is the most likely option?
Well, looks like they're trending towards Rudolph. I see, and I know you don't want to hear that, but it looks like they are. With the Steelers, they usually rarely go out and get guys. Usually they always draft a guy, which they did with Ben. He came in the league, and they kind of draft him, bring him up, teach him, and they come out the league usually, always pretty good. Most quarterbacks for the Steelers, like I said, they rarely ever go after like big time guys like a Rodgers or like say Russell Wilson or anybody like that. They like to use their draft picks and build it from what they have. And I don't think they want to pay him that much money because, Rodgers is going to want a lot of money. So I think they stick with Rudolph. But if they had to pick a guy to go after, like a solid guy, I'm trying to think really. I really couldn't see anybody else. Like, I don't see Rodgers coming.
Yeah, I think I've thought about it, and there's just so many different options. And, the whole thing is, in the draft, if it's not Kenny Pickett, you don't pick anybody else because I don't think Matt Corral is. I think Matt Corral is gonna be like a Jalen Hurts, but I wouldn't want that. Malik Willis, he's never gonna do anything. I don't want Sam Howell. So, and Steelers are picking 20th, which is too high for Pickett. So I think in the draft wise, you go honestly best available. They could go a lot of routes, and with the cap space they have, they could go a lot of routes in free agency. Obviously, you got to extend Minka. If you want to bring back a couple guys, Juju, Joe Hayden, if you want to extend him, but they're still gonna have a lot of room left. I would not complain. I think Teddy Bridgewater would be a good placeholder.
I was about to say that.
If you want him for 1 or 2 years, wait for a better QB class. Jimmy Garoppolo would be a great quarterback. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't see it happening, though. I don't think Derek Carr, although his future's uncertain with the Raiders, I don't think he'd go to a team like Pittsburgh. But and I don't want to see Mason Rudolph. They can't go into if they still want to be able to compete next year. They can't go into the season with Mason Rudolph.
And you know what? But Teddy B's I could see that, honestly. He's a solid system quarterback, especially when you got a coach like Tomlin. Because when he played for the Saints, he won them 5 games. I think he went 5-0 when Breeze was hurt that year. So I think Bridgewater's a solid guy. I don't know about a deep playoff run with him, but I think Tomlin could get him there definitely.
And the thing with Bridgewater, I mean, he's not gonna really lose you those games that you should win. And he's not gonna win, big games. He's gonna keep him at, a 9-8 team for a little bit. Again, wait for a better QB class, or if someone else pops up. People say Deshaun Watson, he's never playing ever again.
Probably not.
I mean, the dude has more allegations than I can even count. But it's gonna be tough. But there's one thing Mike Tomlin can do. It's coach a team to a winning record.
Yeah, I mean, he never had a losing season. I think what they need to do, though, definitely upgrade that O-line because you got your running back of the future without a doubt. Your receiving core is fine. Like I'd probably cut ties with Juju. I don't think you really need him. James Washington can go either way. You have a great tight end now. Defensively, you got to fix that interior rush. Upgrade the D line or a linebacker.
Why in the draft?
They can't stop the
a guy that I'm looking at is Jordan Davis out of Georgia.
That's a good pick.
Big guy. If you put him next to Cam Hayward, that solves that problem for a couple of years when Hayward's retired. You have that position locked for 10 years. The only thing about Jordan Davis is he's a big dude. He weighs a lot, which hurts his stamina. So he'd have to come in, probably lose some weight. But I think if he can get in good NFL shape, he'd be a star in the league.
Yeah, you got that beast, TJ Watt. So you got to keep him as long as you can. But the Steelers' big problem this year is they couldn't stop the run, which usually every year that's their forte. They always stop that run, but you gotta put some pieces there, and then the O-line too.
The O-line, it's complicated.
And get a new punter.
They got thinking about Presley Harvin. The dude, he's got a cannon for a leg. He just shanks a lot of balls. It's either a perfect punt, absolutely beautiful, like right inside the 5 or something, or he just shanks it and goes 30 yards out of bounds. So if he can get consistent, you hang on to him. But if he keeps, shanking and shows that he doesn't really have a future, then you get someone else.
Also got a top 5 kicker in Boswell.
Yeah, I think Boswell gets overshadowed because, Justin Tucker and guys like Butker and all that, but he's about as solid as they come.
He's a beast. And, that division got some good kickers.
Yeah. Speaking of changes, the Minnesota Vikings fired Zimmer, fired their GM.
Finally.
So Austin, what do you think is going to happen there?
Well, who do you like there? That Todd Bowles is getting a lot of calls. They give him a second interview. I like Todd Bowles. He was okay with the Jets, but like being okay with the Jets is pretty damn good because of the Jets. He had Ryan Fitzpatrick. But honestly, I didn't see anything about Vikings with Doug Peterson, but I really like Peterson because he can implement that great RPO system he did with Nick Foles. He won with Nick Foles, and their offense was unstoppable in that Super Bowl against the Patriots. I'm hoping for something like that. I don't know if you can build a dynasty with the Vikings. I highly doubt it, but they could definitely be a 1-year Super Bowl team with the talent. You have a top 3, top 2. Where do you think Jefferson is? Top 3 or top 2?
I have no problem putting him top 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can flip him, Kupp, and Adams.
Then Thielen he's a beast.
He's
when
always
healthy.
Consistent.
That tight end position is fine. You don't need anybody great on there.
Dalvin Cook is always a great back.
Top 5 back.
And here's the
O-line is questionable. It's okay. Defense got upgraded. That's why I like Todd Bowles right now, him or Peterson, because you get Todd Bowles or hell, even Flores. I like a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, well,
but
I saw rumors about Dan Quinn. You don't want that.
No, hell no. I saw what
the elephant in the room. What do you do with Kirk Cousins?
Well, he's going to come back this year. I don't think you can trade him. You got to restructure his contract, though. I think if he doesn't make the playoffs this year, you got to cut ties with him. I love Kirk. He's fun to watch. He's a fun guy. But if he doesn't win a playoff game, he's getting paid all that money, you got to look at him and say, all right, you're not the guy. But if he can make, win a playoff game or 2, get you a decent run, I think he stays again. But his contract needs restructured so you can upgrade that defense because we Vikings have no corners besides Pat Peterson, and he's old.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Kirk. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's about middle of the pack as you can get, but too much money, and that messes up your cap. You can't allocate that to help other positions.
Look at 2017 year when Case Keenum went. He was there for what, on like a 1-year deal?
Yeah.
Barely paying him anything. And the defense was, I think Vikings defense was top 3 that year, and you had the best corner in Rhodes. He's a bum now. You had Anthony Barr, Kendrick, and then a great pass rush with Hunter and Griffin, and you got to the conference game. But once you give Kirk all that money, that defense goes away, and they gotten worse every single year. I think teams do that wrong. They pay these quarterbacks too much. You should just upgrade the defense. That's what's really going to win you these games. And Vikings need a corner. They need a corner and then the safety position too with Harrison Smith. He's not getting younger, but he's still playing good.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you get all more cap space without Kirk's contract, you can upgrade that defense. And the Vikings have all the talent. They're going to have those pieces there, and
got to put it together.
They're going to lose games like the Vikings, like they do.
It's amazing. I think every game except for that Packers game and the Seahawks game was decided by one possession. Just crazy year. So many what if scenarios, like could have won, should have, that's what happens though with the Vikings, but definitely need a corner. Definitely.
I guess, some other Pittsburgh sports updates. Keith Butler retires after a long time with the Steelers, so they're going to have to look for new defensive coordinator. Pittsburgh Penguins with a great comeback win. They've won 5 in a row, won in a shootout last night. They're 1 point behind the Rangers for first place in the Metro. And although it's still the off season, Pirates still suck.
I don't think the Pirates won't. Pirates won't be good until we're about dead. So it's unfortunate.
They have some decent minor league prospects, but the Pirates, until they get new ownership, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to pay some guy a decent amount of money. They just, it's so frustrating.
And
everybody available.
I know they're a small market team, but it's the fact that they have the money and they don't spend it. It's not that they don't. It's not that the budget they have, they're using it, but since they're small market, can't really compete. It's the fact that they're not even using the budget they have.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there are players in the MLB who make more than the whole Pirates payroll.
It's sad. I think the highest paid players, he's getting $5 million.
And a lot of people give the Pirates crap for all the trades. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But it's the fact that, they keep a player until their arbitration years are over, and then they trade them because they don't want to pay.
It's the truth. Done with every great player they have. That they're basically like they're raising livestock. They're like a farming company almost. They just raise livestock and ship it off. It's really what they do.
They're a farm system for other teams.
Yeah, that's basically it, and it's just frustrating because all these guys get insane contracts on like mostly good teams, but some teams that not so great. They're giving these guys all this money. Like you don't need to pay some superstar $300 million, like what Mike Trout's, how much he's getting paid or whatever. I think you can go out, give some guy a solid contract and build a solid team, but they don't want to do it. He just wants to make his money.
And the thing is, they have Ryan Reynolds, who is a great player. He's an all-star. They have decent prospects. It's the fact that the free agent part is what kills them. They can build a solid team with some depth, but you need to get that one or two free agents that just put your team over the top.
Need to spend, need some pitching.
That's what they did in their wild card runs in 13, 14, 15. They made trades, added guys. Some of them, the trades, are just for the playoffs, but after the 15 season, they dumped house. They cleared everybody out of there.
Everybody's gone. No one's around from that team anymore.
No, and
the other thing, they don't have the superstar. Like they used to have McCutchen, who was the superstar of the team. Everybody has that superstar. They haven't had a superstar since he left.
Yeah, I mean
you can argue Josh Bell, but
he was good for half a season. Marte was always good, but he was never great. Ryan Reynolds, he's an all-star, but he's not a superstar.
Frazier, all-star, not superstar, exactly.
Traded him though. I think he's in Seattle.
McCutchen was the game changer, and plus they had a good bullpen back then too. Like not just starting pitchers, but the bullpen coming and get the job done. But
I couldn't name a single. I don't think I can name a single person in that bullpen right now.
Nobody. Probably some local kids from 14th Ward.
Probably. If you think back to the days,
Lanson, Grilly,
Tony Watson.
Jared Hughes, Mr. Stick his tongue out on the nose.
And then slowly got worse. Then you have Felipe Vasquez. We all know what happened with him.
He was really good too, but it's a shame. It's sad.
Can't do
Hopefully that. One year they just don't finish last. That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to compete within the near future, but it's going to take a lot to make them competitive again.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And another thing with the Pirates is, with Nutting as an owner, I don't think they ever get anywhere. There's all the rumors about Mark Cuban buying the Pirates after his kids grow up. Really, the only thing really stopping them right now is the ownership. I think if you get ownership in new hands, completely have a different view about what they want to do with the team.
Need to build a culture.
Commit to competing. All these good years of draft picks, they got to build something.
Oh yeah, I think, and then the thing with like the manager and coaching, they kind of have nothing to do. They have no say so basically because this is what they're given. They can't do much with what they're given because what they have is not that great, honestly, and they don't want to go after anybody. So I feel bad for the managers who come in. Like Clint Hurdle. I mean, I think he did pretty solid for what he had, but at the end of the day, what more could he do?
Yeah, I mean, those 3 years where they had, a good roster, they did well. Without them, he got them. They were still competitive some years, but then they just got worse and worse. He gets fired. Derek Sheldon, I don't think is a great manager, but he can. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. You get in there at this point. It's a matter of time before Nutting leaves, which I don't know. Hope he does soon.
Yeah, he can go back to just Seven Springs and.
Yeah, mate, or
So before we end this episode here, just looking, NFL awards are obviously coming up soon. Also, I want to know first who your MVP pick is for this year.
I got to be honest. It honestly should be Cooper Kupp, but he's not going to get it. I think Tom Brady should get it. Now, a lot of people say Rodgers, but I mean, he was very consistent for most of the year, and Rodgers is very efficient. He doesn't throw any interceptions, basically. I think he had 33 touchdowns, 4 picks, something like that.
Something like that.
And his team was the number 1 seed. And I know the MVP is a regular season award, but I think they have to look at like him getting bounced in that first round, basically. And Brady, you have to look at this. 44, he throws for 5,000 yards, well over, and 43 touchdowns. And he broke countless records this year. I think he deserves it more than Rodgers, but I feel like Rodgers is going to get it. So I think Brady should get it.
That's what I think. And since the MVP is a regular season stat, you can't look at the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to give it to Rodgers. I give him the edge over Tom Brady for that. Yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp's been so good, but this is a quarterback league, and not even one of the best receiver seasons ever. Probably not going to get you the MVP. So I think Rodgers.
Jerry Rice. I mean, if Jerry Rice and Megatron and Randy Moss never won MVP, I don't think any receiver ever will, in my opinion. Yeah. What about what are your thoughts on comeback player of the year?
Comeback. I think it's a race between Dak and Joe Burrow.
That's be Burrow.
Dak had a good season, helped the Cowboys, good record. Joe Burrow's after that gruesome knee injury comes back.
Balls out.
Leads the Bengals from, but they had 4 wins last year.
Something like that.
Now they're a playoff team in the AFC Championship.
I mean,
got to be Joe Shiesty.
I think it's easy. I think like midway through the season, it was like, maybe Dak, but that last 5-game stretch he had, he was insane.
Yeah, and that's why Burr's not a Pro Bowler. He was decent, but not Pro Bowl level, and then he just went on a tear.
Man, that 5-game stretch, and then
a little too late.
And look at Dak, sad cowboy, got bounced in the first round.
Yeah,
he's great. You know what? He did play solid this season, but you know what he does in most of his games. He's good in garbage time.
That's the story of his career.
You know, he's not bad. Like you said, he's above average, but he's nowhere near elite. But the money he's getting says he's technically elite, which is BS. But
yeah, defensive player of the year.
TJ Watt. If TJ Watt doesn't get it, I'm going to write a personal letter to the NFL people and just he has to get it.
22 and a half sacks, 15 games played. I don't think he's better than Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald's the best player in football, but TJ Watt's the second best defender in football. He was the best this year.
Oh, yeah, 22 and a half. He should have won it last year.
Should have won it last year.
He should have. He got robbed of it too, but it has to be. I mean, if anybody else gets it.
Donald, again, had a great season, but, Watt had a better year. Can't give it to Myles Garrett.
No.
Can't give it to that bum Diggs. All the interceptions in the world, the dude's given up 1,000+ yards. Okay. And you could argue it's a style of corner, but it's a style of corner that's going to lose you games because you're going to give up all those yards. I mean, look what Ayuk did to him. It wasn't even a completion, but Ayuk put him on the ground.
Remember that. Tony, bro, he's a receiver who just somehow plays corner. He just wants to catch the ball. That's what he loves to do. And a lot of interception he has are like tip drills, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying he's bad though. He's definitely good, but
he takes advantage of those underthrows for sure.
When it comes down to it, best
offensive
corners,
player of the year.
Cup.
It's between Cup and Taylor, but it's Cup.
It's Cup, and I think, like you said, it's a regular season thing. But they're going to look into this postseason, what he did in his Buccaneer game.
I mean,
I think it's Cup. He didn't have a bad game this season. Taylor had one bad game.
Yeah. Defensive Rookie of the Year, it's Micah Parsons. You don't have to talk about that.
Nobody else.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jamar Chase.
I thought it'd be, it should be Jamar.
It was Jamar Chase, and then it was Mac Jones for a while, and then Jamar Chase got back on, and can't touch him.
What solidified it was 255, 3 touchdowns. That was like, all right, he's Offensive Rookie of the Year without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Trying to think.
Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year. That's.
I don't really know.
I got to give it to Zach Taylor.
Taylor, I think, should get it. Yeah.
I mean, take your team from 4 wins to the AFC Championship. I mean, Joe Burrow only in his second year after coming off that injury with that bad of an offensive line too.
Yeah. Vrabel honestly is in consideration, but with losing to the Bengals, I don't know, that hurts them a little bit because they went through 91 guys this year, which is a record. Vrabel's definitely 1 or 2. I mean, Vrabel or Taylor should get it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, you could give it. You're not going to give it to LaFleur.
No.
You could give it to maybe Shanahan, but I
can see that.
I think Zach Taylor just did an unbelievable job.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Even McVay should be up there in a way, but I think we kind of already know who McVay is and what he does. So I think these guys, Taylor and Vrabel, better seasons coaching-wise.
And here, we're going to make up our own award here. Who was the most overrated player this season? And I can tell you right now.
Everybody in the Cowboys?
Yeah. Because this man should not be a Pro Bowler. I don't know how he's.
Lamar.
This.
Without a doubt. Yeah, I agree.
As my dad says, he is the gimmick quarterback. He's not. Here's the thing. He's a football player. He's not a quarterback. He can run the hell out of the ball. I'll give him that. But when the time comes, you can't count on him to be a quarterback and make those throws. Thing is, he's elite at the wrong thing to be a quarterback. You can be like Allen, who can gunsling it just as good as anybody, but he's good on the ground. Mahomes, he's a passer, but he can move. Herbert, but you can't be a run-first quarterback in the NFL. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think he is a solid passer. But I think like the one year when he won MVP and they were talking about how great his completion percentage was, I'm like, he doesn't throw the ball that much. So I hope it's, that good. But I do think he's a solid passer. I think he's a good quarterback, most definitely. He's a great playmaker. He can win you playoff games, but his style of play, as we've seen in prior years, it just doesn't last. So he's fun to watch, but I don't think he'll be a quarterback in the next 4 years.
The thing I've been saying, and the thing people won't admit, when they have Tyler Huntley, they don't seem to play particularly different. I mean, they're not that much better with Lamar.
In the games.
And I know people are going to disagree with that, but
I agree. I mean, look, Harbaugh can win with a lot of people. He's a great coach, but I don't think the Ravens, they can get any quarterback and win. But I think with Lamar, I think if they get a good receiver, they can be way better because they were hurt this year. Like they were really beat up.
I mean, obviously the Dobbins and
Humphrey Peters went out. That whole team was banged up. But overall, Lamar should not have been a Pro Bowler. Not at all. I mean, and another one should have Alvin Kamara somehow made the Pro Bowl too. I think he's up.
I forgot he was. I forgot he was in the. He was playing.
How the hell did he make a Pro Bowl?
Yeah,
I think Stafford should have made a Pro Bowl over Kyler Murray, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the time of the voting, maybe Joe Burrow wouldn't have made it. Obviously, he should now. And then there were so many better quarterbacks in the AFC. It's Lamar should. be in
And
there.
then what about all pro? I mean, this guy right here, Jefferson got the other guy right there. Jefferson got snubbed. I can't believe that.
I think the thing with Deebo Samuel is his rushing ability put him on there.
I guess, but that's cool. I mean, but he's a receiver at the end of the day.
I think Jefferson definitely deserved first team all pro there with Cup.
Exactly. I mean, he had more yards on less catches than Adams and one less touchdown. I mean, I don't know.
But I mean,
should have been though.
Yeah, I think it's you could debate about that. At the end of the day, the all pros and the pro balls don't mean as much as what the player actually does. Because again, it's all voting. They're never going to get it right every time. It's like they got T.J. Watt wrong last year, but gave it to Aaron Donald.
I mean, Jefferson should automatically be a all pro because of the gritty, man. Everybody's doing it because of him. The gritty. I mean, come on.
He started the trend.
I love Deebo though, but I think Jefferson should have made it over him. I don't know, but like I said, Deebo's a beast. All three guys are, but I think Jefferson should have been in there.
Yeah, well, that's gonna wrap up our first episode of Boyz in the Burgh.
Boyz in the Burgh.
Awesome, always great talking to you.
You too, man.
Thank everyone for listening, and stay tuned for the next one.